You want to know how to get the crispiest, tenderest chicken sandwich you ever eat in your life? 2 ingredients you're not going to believe: pickle juice and powdered sugar. Stick with me, you're not going to believe it, but it will be the crispiest sandwich you ever had in every bite. What are we talking about? Extra crispy chicken sandwich. Colonel Sanders will come and try to find this recipe to get this crispy goodness out of it, folks. I'm talking when you hear that crunch, it's going to break the sound barrier. It is the best chicken sandwich you ever eat in your life. But to get chicken really tender, what do we got to do? We got to marinate that chicken. Well, I need you to take them chicken breasts out of that sack, put them in a baggie. You have seen me do this many times to break down a chicken. Even though the breasts are skinless, they still have a membrane. You can see it on them. Pound them out really well, and then you'll see how they grew in size. Cut them in half. When you break that membrane down, not only is it going to make it accept that seasoning a whole lot better, but that chicken is going to become more tender because it's not having to sit in that marinade as long. It's letting it penetrate from all sides, and it's going to make it oh so delicious in every bite. Don't y'all be thinking I'm crazy. Just go with me through the whole video to the end so you can see the result. So we're going to start out with some buttermilk. It's sort of a brine in a way, going to help it break down, get it to where it's in a more tender state. But we need more to make that chicken get tender in every bite. And what is that going to be?
This is the thing that got me.
Pickle juice. Not sweet pickle juice. I'm talking dill pickle juice. What does pickle juice have in it, Shan? Vinegar. And vinegar is going to help break that down even more. But folks, it's going to give us a tangy taste that we need in that chicken. So to the buttermilk and the pickle juice, add you some garlic powder. Get your whisk, stir it up really well. Take your chicken breast, insert them into the wet marinade. Make sure they're well covered with all the buttermilk mixture. Put a lid on it. Slap it in the ice box at least 3 hours. I prefer 4, 5, 6, even better. And then we're going to break that thing out of there, and we're going to make extra crispy goodness. If you're going to have an extra crispy chicken sandwich, you got to have a good sauce that goes with it. Folks, we're putting together sort of a honey mustard sauce that goes so well with chicken. It's 1/4 of a cup of yellow mustard. To that, we're going to add some of this here honey mustard. Then, folks, we're going to add some ketchup, some of the famous W sauce. I'm not even going to pronounce the name. To that, we need some what? Mayo. A little liquid smoke. That stuff is powerful. Remember I told you it was like a John Wayne movie where there's mixing nitroglycerin. You don't want to get too much. And what? Honey. We need to set this in the fridge so it can go ahead and blend together. Folks, we get close to that 3-hour time limit. That is a minimum for that chicken to sit in there soaking. So go ahead and pull that out of the ice box right now if you're shooting for 3 hours. Just set it on the counter. So let's get the dry ingredients to go in here. So we have 2 cups of all-purpose flour. 1/2 cup of cornstarch.
What?
Yes, cornstarch. What does it do? Helps the dry ingredients adhere to the chicken breast. A little baking powder, because we want it to pop just a little when it goes to frying. If you're going to have fried chicken, you got to have some ground mustard, I promise you. So we're going to put that much in there. Some garlic powder, some onion powder, some smoked paprika, coarse ground black pepper, and original seasoning. I love to I love to use this on chicken because it sort of has a lemon base to it that's going to come out there and just make it oh so good. If you don't have it and you just want to cook this tonight before you get this ordered and have it in your pantry, just use you some what? Little lemon pepper, a little garlic, little salt, little black pepper. You'll be in good shape. And the final ingredient in the dry is something that's going to blow your mind. A tablespoon of powdered sugar.
What?
Yes. Folks, there's so much acid going on in the marinade plus the sauce that goes on the chicken sandwich that we got to mellow it out a little. And you could use white sugar, but unless white sugar is, granulated, it doesn't dissolve in a mixture, it's not going to coat well. It's not going to mix well in this. We got to have something to double baptize that chicken with, so let's go right on into the wet ingredients itself. And folks, if we're going to do that, we're going to have some cackleberries. Now, the chickens did not follow me and Shan and the pups out here to the national forest. So we had to go to the neighbor's hen house. And look, he has brown eggs and white eggs. So I need you to take 3 of them, and these are large eggs, as you can tell as well. Get them in there. And if you're frying chicken and you're going to use something as wet, you're going to have something more than just eggs. And what's that going to be? It's going to be buttermilk. But do you see it on the table? I don't. How much buttermilk, Paul? 2 cups. We're in the wet ingredients. All right, 1 cup. We're going to add the buttermilk to that because we want this coating to pop even a little more. We're going to add a little baking powder once again. Get that mixed up really well. Now that we've got all this mixed up, let's go ahead and get that vessel out that we're going to deep fry in, and I prefer it to be a cast iron Dutch oven. I think they work better than anything they do because they're going to help hold that heat at a constant temperature. And we need fry oil. Yeah, and we got to have good fry oil. Because when you're frying chicken, we're going to get a temperature of 350 degrees, and we need something that has a pretty high smoke point. So today I am using what? Peanut oil. And some of you out there's raising your hand right now. I have a peanut allergy. Well, find some oil that you can use that you're not allergic to. Grapeseed oil is high, but it has a very high smoke point, so you'll be fine with it. But hey, I've done this in lard as well, so you're going to be good to go. Pour it in that Dutch oven, get you about, I'd say probably at least 2 inches deep, maybe a little bit more. And let's get that preheating to 350 degrees. Woo, we are getting so close we are, but there's one more trick I'm going to give you here, buddy. And I mean, it is what makes the extra crispy jump out and be really crispy. That is, see the dry, see the wet. I need you to pour about, I'd say, about 1/3 of a cup in there. And you're thinking to yourself, why is he doing this? Well, folks, it's going to make them little globules of all this good mixture stick to each other, and it's just going to bind really well. And you're going to be telling yourself, why didn't he tell us this before? That way we would have known. So, fork or a pair of tongs, I don't care which you use. Go ahead in here and get some of that. Oh, look at that. That chicken says, I am so happy. I am. So, I'm going to put him right in here first. Go ahead and get him on there. And you can see when we pull this out of here in just a second, where that wet is already binding to that a little that come off this marinade. And I'm going to show you that before I stick him in the rest of it. See these little pieces here that's already wet? That's just going to make extra crispy goodness. So we got him here and here. We're going to go right here. We're going to go back in here again. Because folks, we're talking extra crispy, remember? And I need you to make sure that this thing gets covered really well. Shake off the excess. See how that sort of looks shaggy right there? That's what we're after. This is goodness, it is. Go ahead and let's set him right over here because folks, this chicken is tired. It's had a long day. We got to let that batter and that flour adhere to it. Just let it sit there for about 5 minutes. While we're heating that oil up and waiting for that chicken to really sort of just get a hold to all that goodness there, I'm going to use this on a propane burner stove because it's pretty hard for me to pack Bertha on my back into the forest. It is. And I get a lot of questions. Do you really like that propane stove that you use? And I do. It's 2 burners. This is actually, if you'll see, it's clean. It's a new one. I mean, I've wore that other one out, so I had to get another one. These things do cook well. The windshield makes a great deal of difference because they'll keep that fire from going. And there'll be a link down there below to where you can find out about this because, folks, these are a must-have. Oil has reached the temperature at which we are desired of 350. The chicken have rested because I've heard them snoring over here. So I need you to gently pick one of them up, shake him a little, and you can see some of that goodness is trying to fall off. That's what we're talking about. That stuff right there is going to make them crispies. Drop him in there oh so gingerly. Don't overcrowd the boat on this. I like to really just do one at a time. That way everybody's in the same spot there. We ain't got nobody that's going to try to be getting in the way of another, and the 2 pieces of meat that are coated trying to join together. So one at a time, we're going to flip it back and forth in here. We're looking for a really golden brown crispy crust. So folks, we ain't going to hurt this by flipping it around. Sure, I don't want you to flip it as soon as it gets in there because you want to let that batter sort of adhere and that sort of crust to begin. But I want you to just go ahead and you can see what is happening here. Let's channel zoom in here. There's already some crispy goodness taking place. We'll flip it back and forth. You ain't going to hurt it, but give it time to set that crust a little before you ever flip it the first time. Now, folks, we're going to cook these probably, I'd say, 4 to 5 minutes aside. It depends really on how big that chicken breast is, how thick that you left it after you pounded it, and the oil temperature that you're trying to get to remain constant when you put that cold chicken back in there. But I'd say 3 to 5 minutes is a pretty good range on both sides. But also, folks, you can probe this chicken when you're nearly done. We want to make sure that it's safe. 165, set it over here on a wire rack. It'll usually go ahead and warm up to about 170 and you're good to go. Ooh-wee, ain't that what you call the extra large, extra crispy chicken sandwich? Now you see me there when I was frying them, and these are the huge Mondo size of chicken breast. You could cut them in half even again. Put your little butter on them buns, and I like to use, what do you call these? A brioche. I think it's French
So
Italian.
fancy.
Is that what it is, French Italian? Yeah,
think
it's
so.
pretty close. Pick it up
I
and
want to see you bite this thing.
pick it up and tell yourself, where do you think we should start? I think right here would be the ultimate flavor tester. Can y'all hear that? I
Show
mean,
me, like, because those have been sitting for a
them
while.
have been sitting for a while.
Wait,
Look,
no, those other ones. Those have been sitting a while.
these have been sitting here for a while. And look here. You know, you seen us start out with them 2 chicken breasts. And folks, even when we split these up and cut them down again, 5 or 6 sandwiches easy, we are saving you money, but I guarantee you're not going to scrimp on taste. And I know y'all thinking, we ain't going to have no dance? Not till I have another bite, we ain't. This is what you call the National Forest Chicken Dance. Whew, that stuff is crispy. I mean, it is so good. Better than a fried grasshopper it is. I mean, You be wondering where the taste testers are. Well, they was deers running all around and they'd been gone forever and I wouldn't have found them till they got to Arizona. So, I just want you to know they're all right. Plenty of chicken. They're going to get a bite. But as always, and it is with great honor and privilege, I tip my hat to all our servicemen and women and all the veterans who have kept that old flag flying in camp no matter where we be. Come on, y'all get in here for a big hug. I ain't gonna wait long because I'm hungry. God bless you each and every one, and I'll see you down the crispiest chicken sandwich trail ever.